who loves your church? When was the last time you invited somebody and they came? He gets the glory. He gets the glory. He gets the glory. Did you know God's not trying to call somebody like you? He's looking at calling somebody unlike you. Because one of you is enough. Are you understanding this? God knows one more of you in here. He's interested in multiplying. God doesn't do addition. He does multiplication. 2 Timothy chapter 2 verses 1 and 2 said, that which you have learned, you teach it to somebody else so they can teach it to somebody else. That doesn't sound like 1 and 1 equals 1. But until you're in a worship posture, please do not tell anybody about how much you love God, because it's a lie. Because the evidence is a celebration of him. Matthew chapter 5, let your light so shine that others may see your good work and glorify the Father, or another word for that, and worship the Father because of the life they've seen you live. So I'm going to do something here. You got to be okay. Is there somebody, because this is an invitation to discipleship, and a way to make this legit, somebody who has given their life to the Lord and can tell the difference, would you come up and tell your story so somebody can hear how you were and how you are now because of your relationship with Jesus Christ? This is how we'll be doing the invitation, because people need to hear from somebody in their pre-Christ life and in their post-Christ life. I want to give somebody an opportunity that you know how you were beforehand, and are you honest enough to say, this is how I was, but this is how I am now. That's what the invitation is telling the story. I was, Jesus did, now I am. Because without Jesus, I'm still this. Again, this is where we get the chance to participate. And I already know. Did you know that worship is not comfortable? It makes you uncomfortable because you're not in control once you release yourself to the Lord. He's liable to do anything. He is liable to do anything. And if you're not careful, you'll be saying, I'm not supposed to be doing that. Well, yeah, right. But if it's him, let me give you the opportunity. Is there anybody who's given their life to the Lord, who's courageous enough to say, this is how I was, this is how I am now? And you don't have to. If nobody comes, I'll tell the story. And I don't have to tell it about me. I can just tell the story. But we want to make sure you give a chance, because this is what encouraging one another is all about. That passage that was read in Hebrews 10, it was about encouraging one another. And the deal is to hear your voice. Understand this. I am not a sheep. No shepherd is a sheep. Shepherds cannot reproduce sheep or its bestiality. Are y'all following me? Only sheep can reproduce sheep. The purpose of the pastor is to equip the sheep to go tell, so that the sheep beget the sheep. So whatever the numbers look like in any church, it is never because of the pastor. If teaching is going on, it's because of the sheep. May have their tubes tied. We're going to have real, I'm pole rolling. We're going to have real talk. I'm having straight up conversation with you, because that's how you don't reproduce. Okay, so we're going to try that again. Anybody? Nobody? Somebody? Thank you. Somebody tell him what I'm asking. I'm going to let somebody else, because if my saying it, you don't understand it, so let me let somebody else tell it. So then that way, remember what I said, that sometime when I said it won't be, I'm going to let him say it, because this way, just kind of listen.
I believe the prompt to the question, the prompt to what's happening is, how was I before, and then coming into relationship with Christ, how am I now?
That's correct.
Would you agree with me that you can demand justice, but you cannot demand grace and mercy? Right? Yes. Justice is what I'm owed, especially if I'm wrong. But God has to give his grace and his mercy according to how he will give it. With that in mind, I'm an educator, and I was looking for something that I needed in my classroom. Not a particular fan of Walmart, but I went to Walmart in the Baldwin area. I just wanted to get in and get out. As I'm a person who likes to back into my car spaces, so I passed up the space that was two spaces away from the door so I could back in. Now, I didn't know if he'd sliced him or just what he was doing, but I could hear the hiss. Rage went through my body. And I asked him very quickly, what do you think you're doing? His response was, I don't know, what's up? I said, don't ask me what's up. You're messing with my vehicle. Well, what's up? He thought for sure that I was going to rush him and beat him down right there. That would have been my first inclination, my old inclination. And even, in fact, the old man, the dead man, stood up for a second beside me and said, you got two choices. I can either beat you down right now, or we can call the police. Which would you like? Well, you know, why didn't you just hit me in the face? I said, no, that wasn't the option. You got two options. And then he said, well, let's call the police. I said, you made the smart option. Let's do that. We call the police, and Baldwin Police Station is on the other side of the Walmart parking lot, maybe 30 seconds walk. And as I'm on the phone with them, they said, hey, are you part of that commotion that's going on over there? I said, yeah, I am. Okay, well, there's an officer who's coming by now. This gentleman asked me 3 or 4 times, why don't you just hit me in the face, just get it over with? I said, no, you didn't choose that option, so let's just wait for the police. Well, I'll just give you some money. I said, do you really think this is about money? This isn't about money. He asked what's going on. I share with him, and he says, sir, did you really do this to this man's car? Well, yeah, I did this. And so we put him on the vehicle. We frisked him down.